Okay, the very first thing I do after warming up either on the bike, the treadmill or the rower is I'm going to get the foam roller and I'm going to roll over my upper back area. Alright, so this is not to be rolled over your lower back, so don't roll over your lower back, and use your hands to cradle your neck. So you're not necessarily holding your head, you're sort of cradling your neck, because I see a lot of people hold their head and they jam their neck up by pushing their chin into their chest. So I want to see how Nathan opens himself up there. And usually I'll roll over it, say 3 or 4 times, and then I'll find a spot on my upper back here around my shoulder blades and just gently open my posture up without forcing it, and then just hold it there for a few seconds and then just move down like a vertebrae at a time. You'll see Nathan sort of readjust himself a few times to probably where he wants to be, and that's a great way to start off your workout. Very great for anyone with shoulder problems, neck problems, and even lower back problems for that matter. Alright, so there's step 1. Okay, so once we've warmed up, we've done our foam rolling on our upper back area, it's time to roll over the hips and the legs, which are common areas for a lot of stiffness, especially if you're a knee pain person, hip pain, which might be giving you problems in the lower back. Really rolling through this area is very important, and to do this quite often daily. But remember, you must have done a decent warm-up to warm the area up first. So Ellie's rolling over the side of the leg here, from the hips down to the side of the knee. Now she's going to adjust and roll over the sort of the glute and hip area itself, sort of exploring any areas that may be a bit stiff and tight. You know, and if you find something stiff and tight, you leave it on that spot and just try and hold it there and breathe through it carefully. It can be quite painful in some cases, but you're basically just trying to roll over it several times, releasing any stiffness and tight knots that you may find along the way. All right, and then if you want to, you can move across and to do the quadriceps. So see, Ellie here is going to roll over the front of the quads here. I like to do this one at a leg at a time. I find I can get a bit more leverage with one leg than doing 2, but whatever suits you. Some people may not even need to do it at all. So anyone with knee pain will find this is very important for them, finding their flexibility through the hip region and quads, which are going to be very much a problem that they'll find when they're working out. All right, so that's what you do after the upper back foam roll. So this little mobility drill is a great one for general fitness people, but also great for anyone with knee pain. This is a great one where we might use, where we're trying to get like ankle mobility and hip mobility at the same time. So this is not a stretch, this is a moving exercise. So you see Nathan's like positioned his foot, so he's trying to touch the wall with his knee without his heel leaving the floor, and the other leg he's pulling the heel into his butt to get a hip stretch. So if I pause that there for you, you'll get an idea of what I'm looking at. So here we're getting great ankle stretch, which is the big problem we usually see with people. They may not have pain, but they have limited movement in a squat. Can't develop the strength that they really want. And on the trailing leg, it's the hip that we see the problem. So if I take you to the other side, and you'll see here that this trailing leg is where the hip gets the flexibility now. So we're getting ankle here and hip at the same time. So the two known areas that we find stiffness limiting people. Excellent for knee pain, because again we see the ankle creating problems for the knee or the hip creating problems for the knee. All right, so we get a double whammy. I might do like 5 to 10 reps on each side, not holding it at any point, just moving it in and out. All right, so that's the last of the drills that we might use in our general fitness workout, and it's one of the ones we may use in our knee pain mobility warm-up. All right, here's Dylan showing us his specific squatting mobility drill for his ankle, and to get that knee sort of driving forward, that his heel coming off the floor. So basically all he's doing is he's holding his heel down on the ground and then using his other hand, his left hand, to drive his knee forward as much as he's pushing it forward. And then you can see now he's trying to take that knee outside the foot without the foot coming off the floor. This is where we see a lot of people with excessively flat feet and pronation. They just sort of cannot do that, and weak glutes have become a problem. Tight groin muscles, adductors and hip flexors are just driving it. And you see here this is where he really needs to get into in that deep squat position. So he's practicing more or less how to do that. So then he uses this before he does his squats to help him do his squats. All right, so again, he's trying to move it. He's not, just like when you move with a squat, you're moving, you're not sitting still. So he's trying to sort of like take it around in all angles. See that, how he drove it in, and he's driving it forward, and he's driving it out. All right, so a very simple drill, but very, very effective. All right, so this is where we'll use a quad stretch. Now, most of the time we won't stretch before. If we're a general person with no problems, I wouldn't want to use stretching, but in low back problem we quite often find a lot of hip issues. So this is specific for a hips loosening thing. So Nathan's going to show us, we might hold this quad stretch on each side for, I don't know, 30 seconds or so. And he's going to do the other side. So he's showing you how to get in and out of position. So you use your hands on the ground, your foot on the ball, and then very gently try to sit up straight. Some people might struggle, and see Nathan might have to use a stick or something to hold himself up, but he's got his hands resting on his knee there to help him find that position. And we'll do some hip extensions. So we might start off doing some two-leg ones. I might do as many as, say, 5 or 10, and then we might progress to some single leg ones. Again, we might do 5 to 10 on each side. And this really gets the body well and truly warmed up, definitely into the known weak areas of most people, and you'll feel the core temperature starting to rise. All right, so Ellie will just do a couple on the other side to give you an idea of what to do. All these also great as home workouts. This would be a great home workout that would take no more than 10 minutes if you did, say, 2 sets of everything. All right, so that's the hip extension. Watch myself do this, and basically what I'm trying to maintain, well, firstly I'll just bring in what I'm looking for to get out of this is maintaining optimal alignment with my leg there. So basically like a straight line, it's not a straight line, but if that was a straight line, I want it to be sort of coming from my hip right through my knee to my ankle, just like that. All right, so that's the very first thing I'm trying to get. The second thing I'm trying to get is a good range. So you'll see I'm trying to reach right off the mat, to be honest. I'm trying to get right to the edge of the grid here, and there's little numbers which you can't quite see, but that'll be about 90 centimetres that I'm reaching there. And especially on these backward ones, I'm trying to get right off the grid, and the ones in the front are a lot harder, but I don't want to compromise my knee stability being exactly where it is. So it very much becomes a great exercise for my hips and my ankle in learning how to stabilise my knee so that my knee doesn't cop the brunt of anything, but also my hip and my abductors of my hip need to have good flexibility, as does my ankle. And you'll see now on where this gets a little bit tougher is now I'm going to try and reach all the colours on the other side, and you'll see I've already made a mistake as I'm getting really challenged through this. So I'm going to reach through the green and then around. This is where my hip needs to have good flexibility, and really challenges my glutes on this. And you'll see this position here is awesome for glute strengthening, and I need hip stretching at the same time. So I need good hip flexibility on the trailing leg, need awesome glute strength there, which is forcing me actually, this position they call the Bolo Squat, forces my glutes to work harder than ever, and my ankle can't do anything because it's planted on the floor. So this is a very good exercise for anyone with hip problems like piriformis syndrome, and anyone needing to rebuild some glute strength for knee problems and plantar fasciitis in the ankles, stuff like that. You see now I've got to try and, now there's a red one, I could go behind it or I could go in front. So I'll try behind first, but I need to have incredible flexibility. I can't quite get it, so then I'm going to go around through the front, which is very awkward, and you see I can't get very far. It's a very tough exercise, but this is excellent for building great stability in the ankle, hip and knee to work in every direction, just like you would when you walk and when you walk around corners and things like that. All right, so here's an excellent exercise to use in your training to